It is the time of year when the leaves turn from a solid green to fiery reds, yellows, and oranges. The days have gotten shorter and the wind brings in a cool bite. Candy, costumes, and big round pumpkins fill the store shelves. This is Halloween. So how did Halloween come to be celebrated? In my speech, we will discover the earliest origins of Halloween and how rituals and legends have morphed into common day practices, and why we celebrate Halloween today with trick-or-treating and dressing up in costume. Samhain is the summer's end. It is the Celtic New Year. This day marked the end of harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, and was associated with human death. Peter Tuskowski, an assistant professor in the Department of Folklore and Mythology at UCLA, says the earliest trace of Halloween is the Celtic festival of Samhain. The Celts lived hundreds of years ago in what is now Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, and northern France. The Celts believed the souls of the dead would be available the night of Samhain. They celebrated this holiday with a fire festival to encourage the sun not to set. The people danced around bonfires to keep evil spirits away and would leave their doors open to invite the spirits of their dead loved ones inside. During this celebration, costumes of animal heads and skins were worn. It was believed the villagers could avoid being possessed by dressing up. The Romans had conquered the majority of Celtic territory around 43 AD. In the 400 years they occupied the Celtic lands, two Roman festivals had emerged: Feralia, the commemoration of the passing of the dead, and a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruits and trees. Many people converted to Christianity during the Middle Ages, and the Catholic Church had often incorporated modified versions of older religions to convince people to convert. Samhain came to the United States when European immigrants brought their varied traditions with them. Okay. Rituals and legends of old have reshaped into present practices. Bobbing for apples is believed to stem from the celebration of Pomona, the goddess of fruit and trees. The apples served as a symbol of Pomona and might have been incorporated into Samhain. Apple bobbing was also believed to be associated with fortune-telling. British author W.H. Davenport Adams describes the apple bobbing game as it existed around the turn of the 20th century in his 1902 book, Curiosities and Superstitions. The apples are thrown into a tub of water, and you endeavor to catch one in your mouth. As they bob around and round in provoking fashion, when you have caught one, you peel it carefully and pass the long strip of peel thrice, sunwise, round your head, after which you throw it over your shoulder, and it falls to the ground in the shape of the initial letter of your true love's name. Have you ever wondered why witches fly on broomsticks? One legend is that one Hallows Eve night, a priest was walking by a country road when he saw a bonfire on top of a hill. People were seen dancing in costume, holding torches and branches. It appeared as if they were flying above the flames. This is where the myth of witches flying on broomsticks on Halloween comes from. One tradition that my family and I have is the carving of pumpkins to create scary faces, then setting it aglow with a candle. Towards the end of the night, Samhain's Celts would bring home an ember from the communal bonfire. They would carry these embers in hollowed out turnips, creating a lantern. A popular character in Irish folklore was Stingy Jack. Stingy Jack was a sinful cheapskate who avoided losing his soul by tricking the devil. Jack convinced the devil to climb up an apple tree. While the devil was up in the tree, Jack cut crosses so the devil could not come down. The devil promised to leave Jack alone forever as long as he removed the crosses. When Stingy Jack finally died, he was not allowed into heaven due to his sinful ways. At the gates of hell, the devil would not take Jack either because of their agreement by the apple tree. Stingy Jack was cursed to travel as a spirit in limbo. As Jack left the gates of hell, the devil threw him a hot ember to light the way in the dark. Jack placed it in a hollowed-out turnip and wandered into the world. According to an Irish legend, you may see Stingy Jack's spirit on All Hallows Eve, still carrying his turnip. Irish immigrants brought this tradition with them, but replaced the turnip with plentiful pumpkins, which turned out were easier to carve. The pumpkins became jack-o'-lanterns and warded off Stingy Jack. Modern-day Halloween is centered around trick-or-treating and dressing in colorful and scary and sometimes funny costumes. In Celtic times and up until medieval ages, fairies were thought to run free on the eve of Samhain. These fairies were very mischievous. They would disguise themselves as beggars and go door to door asking for handouts. Those who gave food were rewarded, and those who did not were subjected to unpleasantness. Hence, the name trick-or-treating was created. In medieval times, there was a practice of making soul cakes. It was a simple bread dessert, and the children would go door to door asking for them. For every cake collected, a prayer for that house's dead relative would have to be said. The prayer resembled the lines of the modern-day trick or treat, give me something good to eat song. We have learned that modern-day Halloween stems from many collected traditions. Religious celebrations that are thousands of years old have trickled down in time, creating myths and legends. One thing that has stayed true is that Halloween is a night full of good and bad spirits, and is a time to celebrate with costumes, sweets, and all of fall's foliage.